where do you see your, I mean, you've already dabbled, you've been dabbling in the animation, so
Yep.
what's the next big things that we could see coming here in the next couple of years?
I would say my goal for sure, now that I've accepted the reality, I know we were just talking about like even with Todd and what he did with like toys and stuff. I would love to enter into that market, the statue market for sure. I think that's one of the more realistic things now that I've accepted that, okay, I can't get these produced in North America. This is impossible. There's no infrastructure there for me to do it. So now that I've come to that realization, I've been humbled, and I know that. Well, that's also opened the door for opportunity, which is wide open right now for what we can do there. So we're looking at our options there. But Rippaverse Studios is very much a big part of what we're doing. So not to bore you, but for
Oh,
sure,
man. Go ahead.
like after Yaira releases, so we have a couple of weeks still left in the campaign. We do have some cool surprises, but post Yaira, after like fulfillment, we're going to do a complete relaunch of our website, and it's going to be fundamentally changed, and that's all for the better. It's going to be very interactive. We're going to have a place for the fandom to be able to link up, chat with each other, all those cool things. I'm really, really excited about that. So we do have that available, but also a big thing that's going to happen there is that we're going to be able to we have memberships on our website already, but the memberships are going to be even more robust, and they're going to matter a lot more going into the future post Yaira. And I do believe that model is going to allow us to fund our animation efforts and everything that we want to do with Rippaverse Studios, because I love doing those animations. I absolutely love doing those. For example, I would love to do them in a longer format. Those aren't cheap to make. I got to pay a lot of guys with a high skill set. So that is, it's not that easy to make, but it is a realistic thing to do. And I believe that our memberships are going to be a baseline place for us to collect these memberships and just get people to be a part of it, and then see it come into fruition, new animation. So I would say Rippaverse Studios is something to keep an eye on as well. And I get to finally adapt a lot of the stuff that we're doing in the comic, because that's what I want it to be, as close to a 1-by-1 depiction as we can have, because I want those to really represent like, that's the thing that I think what the West misses with comics right now, is that you can watch a movie from a major publisher and it'll be a completely different character in the comic book, because it's like it's quite literally a different character. I don't want that. I want people to, if no matter how they found out about us, if they watched an animation and they want to know more about that character, they get to go to the comic book and it's still that character they're familiar with. If they read a comic book and then they see the animation, the comic book they read mattered, and that's the same character. And that's our general approach. I think Rippaverse Studios is going to be something to keep an eye on in the near future.
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that the success that you've seen, from the comics themselves, you've grabbed that and you're like, we're going to take this forward, working on animations. And I like the to hear that you're going to try and create a website that becomes like, the Rippaverse. You can go watch stuff, you can go subscribe, you can get your comics, you can get a one-stop shop for, I've just been waiting for anybody to really do that as an independent. And I think that's just an amazing idea. And I want to say I'm so glad that you've came on here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if you could give an independent writer or someone who wants to go into comics, even if you could leave them with some advice, what would it be?
Well, for one, you have to give it a shot. And I just want people that if you are independent to understand that the world is a lot different. And what was formerly the status quo and what we thought worked, there's bits and pieces of it that are old, broken, and archaic. And what I would have you, if nothing else, if you hear me say this, it's not that you should replicate exactly what the Rippaverse does, but it's that you should explore options and find out what works for you, what model. And I mean top to bottom, not just creative model, but your economic model. I want you to take that into consideration going forward. And yeah, because everybody's still trying to figure out what this new decentralized world is going to look like, there are going to be doubters. There are going to be those that try to talk you from doing something because it's not something that they can conceptualize, even though it's the best decision that may make sense for you. As an example, there were a lot of people that, and people remember this, tried to talk me away from using my own website to house everything. They're like, you should just use Kickstarter. You should just use Indiegogo. You should just use whatever the others that are around. And I was like, no, I'd much rather just host it on my own. And it was the best decision that we had made. Obviously, $3.7 million. We got to keep a boatload of it because of that. And that's what made sense for me, though. So I'm not saying you that, hey, go and make your own website. No. What I'm saying is analyze it that way. Understand what your individual capacity is, and then build a model based on that. And just because that model doesn't make sense for other people does not mean it doesn't make sense for you. So do your research, be thorough with it, and do what makes sense for you, because there is no one way to do this anymore. The internet has completely shattered things. There's a million ways to get it. And that's, to me, it's welcoming to me. It's almost like the wild, wild west out here. I love it. I absolutely love it.